Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin then. Just a brief overview. I don't want to bore everybody to death on this. We've got the live stream tonight for Patreon users, so we'll be looking at all the altcoins under the sun at that point. So just join up. There's a link in the description below, and we can talk about whatever it is you want for usually about 2 hours, and do that twice a week. But for now, we're just going to focus on Bitcoin. We've got all those alts to look at tonight. But as far as Bitcoin's concerned, look, we've reclaimed and bouncing from the 20 weekly. So this is a really good sign now. So there's but I have to say that something like this is as obvious as it looks that it's going to go bullish, and it is actually bullish. I mean, there's so much about it that looks very encouraging. If there was going to be an area to be, I suppose, dumped into to be trapped, I suppose a bull trap. Or you could just call it an obvious play for a giant pullback. Would be edging further and further towards this zone here, as early as about 48,800 to be specific. Probably a little lower than that actually, but yeah, about 48,000. We'll say 48,000 as its bottom area, and it's obviously its top area of about 50,000, right? So this could end up being, a giant dump. I made a video, I think last week, calling it a liquidity grab. So if you're a bull, you might be in some decent positions already. If you are in later positions, you'll be looking to close them and then take on some more positions. And basically, if you're a bear, you'll be looking to short from this particularly strong zone of resistance, because 50,000 is the psychological figure. Between 48 and 50 is also the top of the accumulation range before it starts to really, I suppose, break out, to be honest with you. And the way that it generally looks, I have to say, is pretty bullish. It does look pretty good. We've got a nice, quite steep turning up of the MACD now. Money flow index is trickling in nice and slow, but it's still trickling in. We have a breakout here of the weekly RSI, which obviously corresponds to all the other RSIs, from the daily and whatnot. So it's looking really strong, really good. But it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, and that are green. It would not surprise me if next week was a red, being rejected from here. And again, this is highly speculative stuff. The chart does pretty much suggest only up is possible, and it's that only that makes me hesitant. When something's so obvious that it's too good, and that you might on the first pass you might be quite shocked at what could happen. Now, it might not happen. I would like to see it happen, not because I'm looking to take advantage of shorts or anything like that, but it would offer an opportunity for this 20 weekly to go sideways and then up. If we basically just continue to go up like this, obviously, I know that that's good for the price as the price gets bigger, but I'd rather see an incremental an incremental step up bit by bit with this price action, rather than a giant stretching launch up to the moon, because I like to see a trend continue and not blow off its top straight away. I really am looking and hoping for Bitcoin to continue to go up throughout the rest of this year and into some of next year as well. We won't get that if it just suddenly just goes way all the way up to God knows where. So what we want to see is it bending this 20 weekly up, just as it has done with all these moving averages here. And this would take a few weeks. And if we can stay below $50,000 for a couple of weeks, that would be better for me, because it would be a more encouraging, more natural, slow and steady break to the up. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell, looking really good. And like I said, almost too good to be true. But that's just short-term stuff. Within a couple of weeks, perhaps maybe get a retest of areas of, I don't know, 41,000, or maybe not even that low, but potentially 41,000. Right, so this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. We'll finish on here, because like I say, we've got that live stream tonight. We'll look at all the charts you could possibly want. So this is the medium line. I've taken all the nonsense and noise from this chart, and all we've got here is support and resistance. And I was saying, since we broke down to this level, this is the obviously the end of alt season, and then the dump, we had what could have been, and probably is still actually, a reversal. But Over the last, well, a couple of months, while this area was being fleshed out, I found that we had to, oh god, put this area in because it became relevant. This really wasn't a relevant area before, but it is now. And breaking down below 45% dominance could end up with a small alt season. All right, there is a chance that this could be cut short at around about 44 and a half, so really not much between it. But if that breaks down, then yeah, there's nothing stopping alts from having, I suppose you could at that point call it an alt season. Although it probably wouldn't last very long. It wouldn't be the same as what happened in January. It would be short-lived, but it should be relatively powerful. But then at that point, then you really do have to consider what you're going to do when we start to reach these lower levels, if that's what's going to happen. So if we start to break down from here, then what? Where are we going to go? Break down from 39? Where to next? Down to 36? Do you think we could break down below 36, or do you think historically, because that's the lowest we've ever been, more or less, we will bounce from there? Well, you know, from my perspective as a trader, especially, you know, from a spot trader's perspective, like, I love it when these rotation events become clear, and I love it because you can play support and resistance on whatever direction it's going. So never be all in, never be all out. Always have Bitcoin, always have altcoins. If, for instance, this is what the situation is going to be, then when we come down to areas like 39%, 40%, then we hedge into a bit of Bitcoin at this level. Because if we do bounce from here and Bitcoin goes into its rally, the Bitcoin dominance will be quite clearly, you know, moving up, and that means that money will be leaving altcoins and going into Bitcoin, as well as more money just entering Bitcoin than altcoins, right? So there's a better place for you to be, and you base it upon support and resistance. Now, if we were to not do that, let's just say we bounced from this area, I went all the way up to here, and then we found a rejection. This is where we get out of some of our Bitcoin. We take some of our Bitcoin, we sell it into altcoins, and we wait for what would be basically an alt season that could perhaps maybe bounce from here, or maybe it'll break down even more. And again, it's just a rotation event. Like, nobody knows exactly which way it's going to go, but the supports and resistances should give us an idea of where perhaps maybe we could start to look into moving, you know, some Bitcoin to altcoins and altcoins to Bitcoins. You know, we talk about it all the time on the Patreon. So I was expecting this chart, to be honest with you, to actually continue with its uptrend, and it may still do that. You know, breaking down below about 44.5%. We'll see what happens then. But like I say, never be all in, never be all out. Have some Bitcoin, have some altcoins, and see which way we're going to go. As this is generally the medium zone, which is what it is. It's a medium zone. It's not really worth trying to gamble it. I mean, I've got my Bitcoin, I've got my altcoins, but if we start to break down from here, and then there's some really good setups on Bitcoin Bitcoin charts, then I'll enter, you know, I'll sell some of my Bitcoin for a very short-term trade into some of those altcoins, and then take profit back into Bitcoin for the inevitable rotation completion, go back into Bitcoin and stuff. So by the end of this cycle, you know, wherever Bitcoin will be at the time, I would very much expect to see a Bitcoin dominance back up to at least this level, or probably about this level, which means that whatever happens to altcoins in the short term, and as exciting as it could be in the short term, will probably end up going back into Bitcoin, and that being the best place for it to be. But again, this is a highly speculative chart here. We can only really talk about what's happening as it happens. And to, you know, again, we can simplify the way that this chart is if we just look at it like this. I mean, there are other ways that we can just basically break it down to make it nice and easy. And I remember on the live stream, or it might have been a couple of videos ago, I said on the 4 hourly has a short signal on this Bitcoin dominance chart. And if we compare the short signal with this breakdown, I suppose, of upwards trend, so we had a breakdown here, we had a retest of it, and we've broken down. So that's basically bearish, or bearish isn't the right word. It offers more opportunity for further downside. So I was more encouraged by that. We've got a death cross over here as well on the 4 hourly, and obviously a short signal on the Ichimoku cloud. So there was since at least the last live stream I think I did favour a bit more downside for the Bitcoin dominance chart. So yeah, it looks like the alts will probably continue to rally with this kind of setup, even if Bitcoin goes up, you know. But if Bitcoin has that, that liquidity grab, at 50 and then comes down, which would be roughly about 15 or 16%, then we'll see what effect that has at that point on the dominance chart. Normally, any kind of large dump from Bitcoin isn't really very well received on the Bitcoin dominance chart, and then we'll have to reassess the situation at that point. But at the moment, things do look quite good. Keep our eyes on 44.5%, see if that breaks down, and then I suppose get ready for some serious altcoin pump, and then my advice, not that I'm an advisor in any way, or my strategy would be to take profit from those altcoins, not in full, but on the way up into Bitcoin rather than Tether. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy and have a nice day. See you on the live stream tonight.